The following podcast contains some strong language and some very average opinions. Any references to actual people are wildly inaccurate. It's probably best if you don't listen at all. The Roaring Peacock Podcast.
Hello and welcome to the Roaring Peacock Youth Podcast. We are back. Thank you for Donny for stepping in last week in his caretaker role, but I'm back as a full-time manager. A little bit like what's his face down at Pompey? Kenny Jackett. He's had a little time off recently to have a mole removed, and now he's back in charge of Pompey. And as a native of Pompey, they hate him. So I'm glad that he's back and ruining their season. Anyway, I am Ross. With me, as ever, is Rob.
Good evening.
And our new regular, Matty, is back. He's wormed his way straight in here, and he's new regular on this pod. So welcome, Matty.
Hi, everybody.
How you doing, mate?
All right, mate. Are you?
Yeah, not bad. I've had a good week.
Good.
Just before we get going with the usual stuff, we're going to review the Norwich game. We're going to preview the Crystal Palace game, and we're going to look at the spotlight of the player this week. It's going to be Stuart McKinstry. I just want to say a quick thank you to Cookie, who has kind of helped get this podcast off the ground and put a lot of time and effort into the player previews and that sort of stuff we've done, the player spotlights. So, thanks for all the work, Cookie. Hopefully we'll get you back in here at some point in the future, but enjoy your time away from podcasting and the stress that brings you. Anyway, boys, right, Norwich. That was a fun game with red cards and goals all over the place, wasn't it?
Crazy.
Yeah, mad, wasn't it?
I think we're going to end up talking a lot about the ref, and that's probably exactly what he would have wanted. He will absolutely love that. If he stumbles across this podcast and sees us chatting about him, he will absolutely love that, because from minute one it seemed he just wanted it all about himself.
Yeah, he was big time.
I mean,
was he not bored? First 30 minutes of the game was so kind of dire anyway. I think it was uncharacteristic, wasn't it? I think that it didn't get started till 31 minutes on the clock, so the ref probably thought, you know what, second half, spice this up a bit, lads. I know there's about 7,000 Leeds fans on Twitter, another 6,000 on YouTube. We just make it a bit spicy for everyone.
It was mental. I mean, the Kenner red card is honestly one of the worst red card decisions I've seen in my life.
Can they appeal and get them rescinded and stuff, or is that now suspended?
I actually spoke to Nolan after the game, and he doesn't miss the Crystal Palace game,
right? Because
he classes as under 18. Obviously, he was never going to be involved in the under 18s game, which was on the Saturday against Everton. But because he classes as under 18, they can put that down as the game he misses through suspension. So he's back to playing.
Up here for thinking, isn't it? In the under 23s and under 18s.
Such a nice little get out.
That is great.
I was laughing when I found that out, but yeah. That's good, obviously.
Brilliant.
So he was suspended for the Everton game, which took place 17 hours later.
Yeah. I mean, he was never going to play, was he? But that is funny. But yeah, he's back. He should be involved against Palace.
Oh, lovely. Yeah, he's a very good player for such a young player.
Yeah.
Vital. I can see him making that path into the first team, much like Calvin did, especially in Calvin's role now. But yeah, Max Dean opened the scoring for us. Another goal for the young man after the spotlight last week. It seems to be happening. The more we spotlight these players, the more they turn up the next week.
Yeah, prove us right, don't they? Obviously, we had a lot of good to say about Dean, so yeah. Made us look like we know what we're talking about.
McKinstry's next week.
Yeah, look out, Palace. He's coming for you. But yeah, Max Dean is some player for the age he is and what he can do. He is. He's already so good. But how good can he be? You mentioned last week. There's kind of no limits to what he can do. And yeah, another great goal set up by Cody Drammer as well. So good to see him getting an assist as well.
The finishing on the offside goal, another one that was also outstanding. That would have been a goal of the season contender. Quite a few of our goals are in the under 23s as it happens, but the sharp finishing for the actual goal aside, because it was sharp finishing for the actual one that counted, but the offside one would have been chef's kiss, that wouldn't it? That was out of this world. Yeah,
I mean, some of the players. I mean, Norwich had Marco Stiepermann playing, who's played at the very highest level for Dortmund and may have been capped by Germany, but he was just a complete non-factor in that game. Which is just credit to Leeds, isn't it, really?
Yeah, he had a good battle with Kenner and Cresswell, because he was playing sort of number 10 when he up against Cresswell a bit at the time, and then after the first half, I don't think he fancied it against Cresswell, to be honest, and then just kind of started dropping off and had a good battle with Kenner, obviously, until he was sent off. But yeah, we kept him quiet because, like you say, Ross is a very talented player, been a good player, been a top championship player for Norwich, played in the Premier League. good player and kept him quiet.
Yeah, how good was Cresswell, Rob? He was outstanding, wasn't he?
Yeah, another absolutely solid game for all the right reasons that we spoke about before. His ability to read and understand what needs to be done in holding that line, but also you can see the IQ, the footballing brain ticking as he's playing. Not that he's easy to read, but I mean, you can see that he's understanding what passage of play and what transition from midfield to a threat as it comes forward towards him, where he needs to position himself and what he needs to do about that, which is what you want in a quality defender. I really like the IQ intelligence side of a lot of these young chaps, and we spoke about it many times on this podcast, that they are or seem to be, and the league position reflects it, leagues above, not only in terms of talent and footballing ability, but also in that maturity aspect as well. Yeah. We've got, kids playing for the 18s, we've got 18s playing for the 23s, and we've got 23s playing or on the bench for the first 11s. Everyone's that next level above. And we have spoken, Matty spoke about it a lot during his first time with us last few weeks about it's important we don't rush these people, but when they're clearly already at that level above, why not have Max Dean in the 23s? He's scoring for fun. Why not have some of the under 16s in the 18s? Because they can manage that next level up. And as it showed, I think, against Southampton, this is from LUFC data, I think this information came from, 6 players aged younger than 21. So it was Meslier, Casey, Cresswell, Jenkins, Huggins and Gelhardt were in a Premier League squad for the first time since 1999 against Arsenal, which it was Robinson, Woodgate, Smith, Jones, McPhail and Kewell. So six players under the age of 21 in the squad against Southampton just shows that the quality that's coming through.
Yeah, it's incredible. There's some players there. Mate, someone went through all your player ratings for the season, didn't they?
Yeah. And that was really interesting.
Yeah, so there's players like Cresswell that haven't scored as high as you would think, but is that because you kind of set them at a higher standard than kind of how you score them? Like it would take something extraordinary for them to get like a 9 or a 10.
I think so. Yeah, I think so. And obviously Cresswell's been one of them players that's played almost every week, so the ratings are sort of leveled out. Whereas Somerville, I think, was number 1. He's played only a handful of games, so maybe some of those ratings will drop over the next few weeks because, like you say, they set the bar so high. If they have a slight dip, and it's not a criticism of them really. Like
no, not at all.
Cresswell was getting 9 and 10, 8s and 9s at the start of the season, so when someone sets the bar that high, it's obviously difficult. And when I'm reviewing it, maybe I'm a little bit harsher on those players, but like you said, just set the bar high, and I think that's all it was down to. It was a really interesting list that I think his name was Jack that did it.
Yeah, so, Jack LUFC 1919 he is, give him a follow. He did some good work.
It was very interesting.
Yeah, I mean, you can get a job on the YEP for those player ratings. Don't give out 10s easily. You get a job on the YEP for those player ratings you give out.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, Somerville got 8.4 over the course of the season. Gelhard's right out there as well, but that's fair. He's been an outstanding player this season, and Cody Drummer as well make up the top 3. I mean, you're pretty spot on with your ratings, I think, over the course of the season.
I think that would have been, if you said to me like before, who's the top 3 on average, I'd probably guess those 3. I am a bit surprised. Cresswell 5th, I think. If I remember rightly.
Cresswell was 9th, actually.
9th. Wow.
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah, I have no idea how Cressy slipped.
He's just below Kenner and McKinstry, Greenwood, right. Casey Roberts. Roberts is a bit unfair, I suppose.
What's Greenwood? Almost forgotten about him already. It sounds a bit brutal.
Yeah.
Obviously being injured, and but McKinstry, the man we're talking about, has kind of been the man that stepped in that role and been playing really well. So.
Yeah, we'll move on to Stuart McKinstry in a second. But yeah, just finishing off that Norwich game then. So we got a late penalty, 97th minute, wasn't it? I think, and that was after 2 Norwich red cards as well, just to give the ref a little bit more screen time, I suppose. Just handing out cards all over the place, wasn't he?
Like sweets, like toffees. Soft is the word I would use for that, especially the Kenner red card. The 2 yellows, I mean... Yeah. The letter of the law, he'd probably, if we have him on as a guest, he'd probably argue he's following the rules. But yeah, it was a little bit out of his, not out of his depth, but it got the game management he wasn't able to read it. I don't think some of those challenges were yellow card worthy that were
made
flying
it difficult
about.
for himself.
Yeah, he set a standard, didn't he? Of almost this
just,
is what I must do to continue this now and be consistent rather be correct.
Yeah. You get those refs sometimes, and unfortunately it was this game, but we came out on top anyway. We won. That leaves us. What does that leave us? 10 points clear at the top of Stoke. Wolves got 2 games in hand, so it could be 9 points if they win both of those. But yeah, 10 points clear with the games remaining to play are dwindling, so it's looking good. And 5 wins, 6 or 7 wins on the bounce now. Stoke are the only challenges really, but it will take a monumental collapse, a Leeds-esque collapse to not win this league.
Yeah. When's Easter weekend?
Let's
We're
get
notorious for folding on Easter, aren't we? So let's get the season wrapped up before then, lads. If you're listening,
yeah, please, God. If Wigan got another 23 team in our league, thank Christ. So yeah, we're going to talk this week then. Thanks to the people on Twitter that voted for the Interpol. It's going to be Stuart McKinstry, summer signing from Motherwell last year.
Yeah, 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Just got some stats about him. Obviously, a lot of votes on the poll, so thank you all for voting. And this is who they voted for: Stuart McKinstry. So, 18 years old, Scottish, winger or an attacking midfielder. And if he plays in midfield, he's usually like the 8 or the 10.
Yeah.
And he signed to the under-18s in 2018 from his boyhood club Motherwell. Transfer market records that fee at £225,000. I think I've read that rightly.
Yeah.
And then he signed a new deal just last August 2020. That season contracted now at Leeds until 2023. So they've put the faith in him. They've given him a contract.
Yeah, it's an exciting player to watch. I always like to check out who their agency is, and he is with who's it? Case CAA Base Limited, who have got players on their books like Son, Hyung Min, Raphael Varane, James Maddison, Carl Walker, Dele Alli, but also a lot of Leeds connections. Chris Wood, who else have they got there? Ronaldo Vieira, Danny Rose. So kind of following a pretty well-worn path. Alex Mowat's on those books as well. So kind of they know the club, but also all those players that are on those books don't play for Leeds anymore. They've got their moves at some other point, so it could be something to look out for in the future. But yeah, he's got himself a big time agent. Rob, what do you make to him so far this season and last season as well, I suppose?
I think his contribution has been fantastic. When he's been able to get game time and minutes, it's been to an excellent standard. He links up well with anyone he plays on that right hand side with, and his contribution can't be faulted. I think he's young still, so he's got that benefit. I think if he was slightly older, I'd probably actually be a bit concerned about his future. Maybe he might be one of those that we were speaking about having to go out on loan, just purely for the amount of competition we've got on the right hand side at the minute.
What, is he 18?
He's 18, yeah. So we've got a lot of first team players and other youth players as well that are kind of, like your Purveders, for example, that are up there that can switch, and there's people that can play where he plays. So yeah, that's by the by, because he is only 18. So I think if he was 21 to 22, 23, you might be talking, is he going to get a sniff? As he's only 18, I can see this guy sticking around and having a future with us. I think loaning him out at this stage is not going to be beneficial. So I'd like to see him continue his development with us, like I've spoke about quite a few of our players, I think, with the way we go in, and to get him blooded against some better quality opposition in the division up. Hopefully all been well if we get promoted. Like you say, it'll take a monumental collapse for us not to get promoted. So to test his mettle down that right-hand side against some bigger boys would be good to see next year. But he's an exciting player, exciting development.
Yeah, definitely. How's he been
getting on?
Where
do you see his best position, Rob?
For me, from what I've seen of him, right mid. But not as far forward as I think he maybe liked to play or has been played. More of a central midfielder towards the right hand side, like a centre right mid for me. But he can play right wing, attacking right mid, and he's played attacking left wing, I think, as well, hasn't he? When he's had to switch, and do that. But for me, I don't see him. Well, I mean, in general, I think the delivery for in the last game, the conditions weren't brilliant, but the delivery was poor all round. I thought set piece delivery, I thought crossing was a bit poorer than it has been in previous weeks. But I think whilst we've got a lot of pace, we've got a lot of flair, we've got a lot of passing, a lot of movement, I think crossing ability is something that we lack really at that age. But they're 18, so they've not really found all of their skills and assets in the cupboards yet, have they? So when they dig those out, some of them might have better crossing feet. But no, I think for me, right mid.
Even in the first team, crossing is an issue.
Yeah, it's not.
It's a skill you have to work on, I suppose. So yeah, even a proper first team winger struggle with crossing a lot.
What about you, mate? What do you think? Because I feel like you led me down a path for that one.
No, not at all. If you see him as a right midfielder, that's fine. I think I prefer him as a number 10. I'm not, as a winger, I'm not sure if he's just got that burst of pace that, like Somerville has or Vader has. I think I prefer him as a number 10. More central, threading passes through rather than whipping him in from wide. Although he takes the set pieces for the 23s, the corners, and the free kicks, and I think his delivery is actually very good. From dead balls, anyways, his delivery is good.
He played in the 10 against Reading, was it? I think he scored twice.
Yeah. He's got a couple of goals and assists, and his contribution to the attacking effort is not faltered. I think that's, he's got that potential and he's got that weapon in his arsenal. I think we differ slightly on the dead ball situation. I don't think we've got someone in the under-23s really who you can say can ping a cross in every time. But like you say, most of these lads are that versatile. They're having to play multiple positions week to week. Centre mid, right mid, number 10, dropping in at left wing or right wing, which if you're not ambidextrous with your feet can be quite an issue. So yeah, I think versatility is a preference over specific skill attributes at the minute with this squad.
I think when he arrived in the under-18s, I think he was more of a left winger, like an out-and-out winger. And I think I don't know if it's Mark Jackson, I don't know if it's Bielsa, but I seem to think they fancy him more now as a midfielder. Yeah, he's played as an 8 or a 10 recently. And I think I prefer him as the 10. He don't quite have the energy as Greenwood or Jenkins, somebody like that, to play number 8. But he's certainly got the quality on the ball to score goals, to get assists. Two goals, 3 assists, incidentally, in 13 PL2 appearances this year. And then he's also played in the 2 EFL Trophy games. And he's also played 1 game in the 18s this season. I'm not sure why that will have been just minutes, or maybe he was injured. I'm not coming back from an injury. I'm not sure. Yeah,
well, for an 18-year-old, you're thinking, he's mixing with, again, he's one of those that's showing that quality to be the level above than age-wise, not only mixing it with the physicality. I like with McKinstry, I like his doggedness. I know that is an attribute that a lot of the under-23s have got, but he seems tenacious, I think is the right word. He wants it, which is really good to see when they get on the ball. Both of the McCarron-McKinstry connection, it was good to see that high level intensity and the work ethic in the game is really pleasing.
Yeah,
something that's got better, I think, with him. Seems, obviously, I'm judging him when I first saw him play. I think he must have only been 15, 16. So yeah, he's got stronger, he's got bigger. Seems to like a tackle a little bit more than he did at first. But yeah, for me, I think number 10. But yeah. Obviously, Rob, if you fancy him on right midfield, then
I don't know. Time will tell. I think.
Yeah, time will tell, of course.
With all of them, I don't think there's a feature of this squad where they're going to have a set position, except if you're goalkeeper. But I think most of them are going to have to be versatile, aren't they? So he'll settle into that rhythm, or they can be converted, can't they? I think he's shown already, and we've just spoke about 4 positions there that he's played that we've seen him in: left wing, right mid, and number 10. And you wouldn't be upset if he was in your starting 11 or under 23s in any of those roles, would you really?
There was one game there's one game this season, the Sunderland game, when Drama got sent off. It's McKinstry played in 4 positions in that one game. it was like left wing back, left wing, right midfield, and right back. So yeah, it ended up at right back when Drama got sent off for like the last 2 minutes, and it made it 4 positions in 90 minutes.
That's insane. Yeah,
I think going back to that actually discussion, I think the number 10 argument or conversation is worth having, because that might be a quicker path for him through for development. If he's, I don't know how he's feeling about it, obviously, because like I say, down that right hand side, he's got competition. I know he's younger than some of the others, but you've got a list of people from RAF. You've got Costa, you've got Somerville, you've got Poveda, you've got Harrison. If he's switching, got Costa. You've got a few of them that can play both sides, and I think he's a way down the queue, but he's 18 years old, so let's not rush these lads through. And if by some chance he does listen to this, his contribution so far has been outstanding. So just keep on that development path, and he'll find his way up there with the big boys at some point. Yeah,
he played number 8 against Norwich. Transfer mark having him down as a defensive midfielder in that game, so he's got versatility, which is what Bielsa loves. So, the best time to prove it is when you're playing for the under-23s. Let's move on then. This Monday, 1:00 on YouTube and all other places where Leeds games are broadcast, we're playing Crystal Palace under-23s. We played them back in November with a 4-1 victory. Goals from Joe Gelhardt from the penalty spot, an own goal. Joe Gelhardt again, and Max Dean on the score sheets. Palace, they're not a bad level, are they? I think they're at 3rd or 4th in the table, so they're pretty good. But again, it should be a game that we handle comfortably. We're 17 points better than them this season so far.
Yeah, fourth in the league. Lost the last game against Wolves. I'm just reading here. But yeah, we kind of battered them in the last game. Ran away with it in the second half, if I remember rightly.
3 goals in the second half.
Yeah. But yeah, they're a strong side. I think they put quite a lot of. I think they're quite big on their academy. We mentioned it the other week when they only had.
People missing off the bench, didn't they?
Yeah. And so I think that's just they keep the academy together and obviously focus on the 23s rather than pushing those lads through, which is obviously up to them. It's not how we've done it. We've kept the 23s integrated with the first team, so we can have them on the bench. But yeah, if they're sticking together and training together every single day, just as a 23s team, you can expect them to be strong and organised and have a bit more of a set team than maybe we do. But yeah, it should be a tough game. They've got some talented players. I remember from the reverse fixture. Got some good players.
Look at some of the players that have played for their 23s this season. Gary Cahill's played for their 23s.
I remember that went all over Twitter, didn't it? Cahill and the under 23s.
God, imagine how slow he must have looked against kids. Jesus Christ.
It's all right. We'll drop Pablo down and they can have a go.
The battle of the old men and the under 23s. Predictions then, guys. How do you think we're going to do?
I'm going to go same as a reverse fixture, 4-1.
Yeah, 4-1 again. Okay. Rob, how ambitious is that?
I'm going 2-1.
2-1?
Win. 2-1 win for Leeds.
2-1 win. I'll go between you both. 3-0. I think we'll keep a clean sheet and we'll comfortably beat them. Really, I can't see them causing us any problems. I can't see any of these teams causing us any problems. It's just kind of a wait to get out of this division now, I think, for us, and really test ourselves next year in that higher division against the proper big academies, which is exciting. I'm looking forward to it. Even if we won't win as much, it's just more exciting to see them playing against better players, I guess.
Yeah, it will be good. It'd be great for the club just to have those academy lads take another step up and test themselves, and it'll be another way to attract more players to the 23s. Obviously, players like Somerville that have even dropped down from first team football in their country to come and play 23 football over here, I think could be a massive step for the club and another step forward, obviously.
It's that multi-channel approach. There's like a myriad of positives for joining us, because you've got the obsession of the fans, where we'll watch an under 9s game on Wednesday at 7 a.m. if we could, and we'd have about 8,000 people on YouTube watching it. So they've got more exposure. Let's face it, they have, because we're balmy and silly, but they've got a massive fan base, a massive following. They have exposure. I think when fans are allowed back, I think we mentioned it last week or the week before, under 23s tickets are going to fly out. I think there'll be a real big clambering for people to go and watch this football because of the style, the brand, the ability, the way that Jackson's coaching them, everything. I think everyone likes. There's a good feeling about it. And you never know, you get to see some first teamers from either our academy or these other academies in the step up. So I think all around everything positive. I agree with you boys. I think we'll sign a couple more youth players in, which will keep our established youth players on their toes. And I think that step up next season is going to be really interesting to see.
Yeah, can't wait for it. Just seems like just wasting time now. Just let us play those boys now.
Need to get it done.
We've got to get the job done first.
Yeah, a matter of not being complacent, I think, and I don't think the standards that Bielsa and Jacko set, I don't think they'll be.
They'll be pushed.
I don't think that'll be an issue.
Yeah. To the very last game, I can see us, trying to play the same way and try and go out and steamroll teams with the right brand of football and do it in the right way.
Same as the first team last season, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, they're on this run now of nine wins in a row. That's
9.
That's enough incentive to just go and keep winning. Just see
record
if you
breaking.
can win every single game. Like, why would you? Once you get that winning feeling, you never want to lose, obviously. So, tomorrow if they can, not tomorrow, Monday if they can make it 10 wins in a row, obviously that's quite a milestone. 10 games.
That'd be massive. Yeah.
And, I think is there 7 games left after that? Is there 8 games left now and then? So if they can go 17 games winning in a row.
7 games left, so just the 6 left after this.
6 left. Yeah. So they could finish on 17 wins in a row, is it?
Yeah.
Some achievement, that.
Words, yeah. When did we last lose? Who did we last lose to?
Newcastle.
Oh, yeah. The start of November. Yeah. Ridiculous. Well, there we go. That is the end of this podcast. Thank you very much for watching. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure you hit that subscribe button. We're so close to 1,000 subscribers. When we get to 1,000 subscribers, we can start making some money out of this. Well, Donny will, and he'll div it out.
Yeah, I was going to say, yeah.
But yes, do make sure you hit subscribe. We do premieres for every video that goes live. So 7 p.m. Check out on our Twitters. We'll tweet out when the videos are going live, and you can join the chats and chat with us and watch along with us, and we can answer your questions if you have any, or we can just chat to you about the players and the team and all that sort of stuff. It's good fun. You can find me on Twitter at Rossbell1984. Rob, where can they find you?
At Juicy Rob, JUCEEROB. And again, thank you for everyone that does listen and interact and comments on the YouTube and replies on Twitter and gives us suggestions and votes in the polls that Cookie been putting out previously, but Matt is going to be putting out now. We appreciate it, and thanks for listening.
Yeah, Matty, where can they follow your Twitter for the all those polls and all the other good academy stuff?
The polls, all the academy stuff will be on at LUFC Academy News, and the website is www.lufcacademycentral.com, and my personal Twitter is at Matty_Ingham. So go and get involved on the polls if you want to have a vote on who we do next week. Yeah.
We have to think about a few more names for next week. We're going to run out of under 23 players soon. We have to be doing the 18s and the 16s.
18s aren't bad.
Yeah, they're pretty good as well. But yes, that is pretty much all. Thank you for listening. Thank you for downloading and subscribing and giving us feedback. We love it. It's brilliant. We love doing this. It's just great fun. So until we are back next time, it's goodbye from me. It's goodbye from Rob.
Goodbye.
And goodbye from Manny.
Goodbye.
And we'll see you next time.
Leeds.
Most of our stats come from LUFC Stats or LUFC Data on Twitter. A very special thanks to Barney, Stuart, Cook, Ewan and Howard, Metcalf, Josh Pearson, Laura, Leon and Rob, The Light Show, and all our family and friends.
So many games to play, don't care what's